Namaste and welcome to this exciting new episode of Sattology, Debunking Mythology. Sat means truth in Sanskrit and Logos means a study or science. Sattology means the science of truth or study of truth. It's a true antonym of mythology. Myth in Sanskrit is a root word for mithyachar, mithyahankar, mithya. Mithya word also comes from myth dhatu. It's a root word, which means a lie, fake, or imagination. And mythology means a study of lie, fake, or imagination, or science of lie, fake, or imagination. So when it's a true antonym here, right here. So today we have very, very special guest, and I think you all loved my all the earlier shows, and thank you for all the support and feedback that you gave me. Today I have a words of you to describe him, Padma Shri, and many others titles. It's a lifetime of work. But one of the principal contribution of this gentleman, who I'm going to introduce shortly, is is an example of integrity, which is very much lacking today. And while doing that, he has emerged as a very trustworthy person for millions of followers in North America. Many big political stars have studied under him. So without delay, let us welcome Sri Ved Nanda. Namaste, namaste.
Namaskar. Thank you very much. You're very kind and generous in your description, but I'm delighted and honored to be with you because I have followed your own, not simply career, but all your accomplishments, and my deep gratitude and regards for all that you are doing and have done.
Without elders like you, it will be impossible for us to sustain. So my indeed gratitude to you and for being the torch bearer. We all have to follow together as a team. And I think you set a great example. You unite people, you bring all kinds of people together. So that is a great example, Ved Nanda. So my first question to you is, and this is the first time we are coming, and second time we might be on a computer with a more comfortable setting for you. What is your thought process when you have done like a lifetime of service? What was your thought process when you're serving the Hindu community in North America?
I came from India, and in India, I had been very, I think, lucky. I had been with people.
Nandaji, can you make the camera down a little bit? Down?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I had been with people in India from whom I learned a whole lot. And I had the privilege to be at the University of Delhi, where I was president of the Faculty of Law Student Union, then University of Delhi Student Union, then Akhil Bharati Vidyarthi Parishad. And I was honored to be its president. So working with all those people and working with other people at that time, those who had simply decided to give their own lives for the country. So from there I came to the University of Chicago, then Northwestern, then Yale, started at the UN. And the only thing that came to my mind at that time was, as I came, that absolutely no compromise on principles. And whatever I can do for the society, that's simply my privilege and my honor to do that. And I have been very lucky and fortunate to be able to do that in my teaching and work here in this country.
The people can search you out on Google and other things, but just for our audience sake, I'll say again one more time that when you set up a Hindu Swayam Sevak, many Americans may not understand, but when you set up this organization for selfless service, I'll say, it has helped so much. It has grown, it has helped so much. And we are at this show, we are politically incorrect because we never speak anything bad. So we always focus on the good things. So And what was your mindset in doing that?
Satsangiji, the program had begun earlier. I came into it and saw the people who are working on this program, on these projects, as volunteers, Hindu Swayamsevak Sangh. They were totally selfless. They had only one passion, and that was that the Hindu culture, Hindu civilization, and the Hindu heritage that we have inherited, we ought not to be selfish to keep it to ourselves, and that we need to share it with the Hindu community, but then with broader community. And especially in this country and all over the world at the present time, where people cannot even tolerate each other, then to see them and their example, that inspires me. And so I have been privileged to be able to work with them, be a part of that enterprise in a way. And when we talk about enterprise, it's usually only in the business setting, but this enterprise is the one that is a societal setting. And so I have been privileged to have those people inspire me to work with them. And that is really what has happened. Because at the present time, the purpose of the Hindu Swayamsevak Sangh is to have people who are willing to, capable of working for society and selflessly. And they are trying to see that Hindu identity remains intact in this country. And again, as I mentioned, the culture and civilization that has given all those values, we don't need to keep them to ourselves. And it's appropriate to share them with the broader community, whether it's at the present time an issue of peace, whether it's an issue of education, whether it's an issue of pluralism. So I think that is really what has inspired me to be able to work with such wonderful people.
No, I have been through the Prathmik, and I really loved. One thing I fell in love with was the light atmosphere which is being kept. And virtually every American is welcome to any of these shakhas. Shakhas is called just means branches, for those people who do not understand. And anybody is welcome. Anybody is welcome. Is always held openly in a glaring public view, and creates one of the best teamworks possible to serve everyone else, including ourselves. So the this methodology, how, this is very new to USA, because most of the Americans, similar organizations in America, they have very strong membership culture. Like without money, you cannot enter. It is held in a closed location. Nobody knows. And there is a strong charter driven by it. So which is highly oriented towards that community. So this process which the meetings are held is so open that anybody is welcome. So how did this initiate here? For me it was the first time when I attended it. So
Satsangiji, it came from Bharat and it came from India, because in India, the same kind of setting at the present time is there. And as you rightly said, all of us belong to so many organizations. I work very actively with the Rotary Club, with Sister Cities, with the Denver Council on Foreign Relations, and so many other organizations, Interfaith Alliance. And everywhere that I go, I still think of the people whom I work with, especially in Hindu Swayamsevak Sangh. And these are from young people to those very mature who have had experience and who had wonderful credentials. And all of them have got one thing in mind, and that is selfless service to society. Now, in the past year and a half on COVID-19, the kind of seva and the kind of service that these people have done, I am just absolutely amazed. What happened in India was a difficult time. And obviously, in March, the government felt, the people felt that COVID-19 was behind us. And again, with a great fury, it came, and they were not immediately prepared for that. So, here in this country, the kind of effort that was made in order to assist people in India was absolutely remarkable. But before that, when there were floods in Houston, there were problems in New Orleans, and around the country, whenever there is any difficulty, these people, they don't work simply for Hindus, but for society. And the thought simply is that, as you have said many times and thought about it, when we say Vasudeva Kutumbakam, that the entire human race is one family, it's not a slogan. When we say Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Santu Niramaya, that all be prosperous, all be happy, that again is not a slogan. We sincerely feel that by our own example, we need to have that kind of tradition, that kind of setting in which it becomes a day-to-day, lifelong kind of mission. So thank you for saying that, but I am very proud to be working with those wonderful people.
No, I think you are the grandsire of many of these people. Because of you, many of them look up to you for guidance also. And so one of the things you mentioned, Vasudeva Kutumbakam, that is said for the magnanimous. The complete shloka is Vasudeva Kutumbakam is the mindset of the magnanimous. And in the same shloka, it is mentioned Lagutatmaka, like this for the small-minded people, think opposite. So the in USA, I have a lot of friends. You have a lot of friends here. Generally, Americans are very good, kind-hearted people. Generally, majority of the times we have seen. Otherwise, we will not be all here. We all here because it's a very nice country. But there are some small-minded people also within ourselves. Also, because first of all, we can also become small-minded for our petty selfishness. But this shloka applies to the entire humanity because it nudges people to think big. So how is the importance of thinking big importance relevant to our area, what we are trying to do for everyone else?
I think the point simply is, as you rightly said, that if we simply think about ourselves and think only what we can accomplish personally, then you can do a whole lot. But at the same time, you are not able to contribute to others. And next door to us here is a very, very vibrant church. And I have been honored to go there and talk about Hinduism. And they were very kind to invite me. And working with them, I have found the same kind of thing, that they look at us and they look at Hindus, and they have been working, some of them, with doctors, with Hindu business people. And their usual um, utterance for me is, and they usually tell me, that they have found Hindus not to be simply thinking about themselves, but be able to share, be able to have broader, bigger mind and a bigger heart. And in that kind of heart, they can then um, meet people and be with them and share their own thoughts without any reservation. So I think in the world, we have found that, and I teach law, so I get all kind of students, and I find in them also that once those who transcend themselves and are able to look at others and take care of others, they are the happiest ones. And in the last year, in every class, I used to say, take care of yourself, take care of others, be kind, be compassionate. And students would come to me and talk with me and say, we don't hear that often, we don't see that often. And so you're absolutely right. That is one way to have all around you and kind of atmosphere of happiness and peace and tranquility.
Uh, in the second part which you said, Sarve Sukhina Bhavantu, which is a very oft spoken, and I think you have embodied that principle when you speak to others. Uh, and the the non-exploitative nature of Hindu-ness, Hindutva, or Sanatan Dharma is very well respected by many Americans we interact with. Hinduism or any of the cultures connected to that culture, Sanatan Dharma has that aspect inbuilt in them. And also, it is the most nature friendly, environment friendly culture, which is a big demand today. In California, we are facing a drought, and in California, we are also facing excessive heat right now, as we speak right now. So, n- coming to this point of Loka Samasta Sukhinu Bhavantu, or the our desire to have peace for everybody else. Now, it is respected philosophically, but at the same time, we see that there is a negative uh, uh, attacks on that particular philosophy, where this is considered a weakness by many of the followers of our culture. What do you have
I
to add
think,
on that?
Satsangiji, you have done that in this country about Hinduism for a long period of time, and they didn't have an appreciation or understanding. And I think for that, I fault ourselves because we are the ones who have got the responsibility to convey that message and to convey that message in a fashion that people can understand and appreciate it. But why is there at the present time a whole lot of negative propaganda about Hindus? And why is it that they understand people who talk about it only in terms of caste and only in terms of being Hindu um, community and Hindu entity here being rich people who are educated and who consider themselves elite and who don't take care of Dalits and those kind of misconceptions about Hinduism. If anybody is going to respond to them in a very constructive and positive fashion, it's our job. And if those people don't understand it, I think we are the ones who are missing something not to be able to articulate it properly or not to be able to communicate it properly to them. So I think we have got a responsibility, and that responsibility is to make sure that people who come in contact with us, there are friends, there are students, there are co-workers, there are people that we get to know in the temple, in other places. And in temple, obviously, not many non-Hindus come, but obviously at work they are there. In many of these clubs or many of these organizations that we work with, whether it's sister cities or it's Rotary or Denver Council on Foreign Relations or Interfaith Alliance, and many other organizations that you and I work with, it's our responsibility to spread that message. And it's not by preaching, but it's by our own example. And it's in a way that we can articulate it properly for them. And that I think is our responsibility.
You are absolutely right. We own that responsibility of communication and good behavior also, both of them. And generally speaking, we have been the most law abiding citizen of this country in every single possible way as a community. And most of these allegations are not inspired by Americans. We also know that people we have lived for centuries, they have never spoken like that. In fact, they have the highest acceptance of that. There are 50 million practitioners of yoga in this country now. There are more than 600,000 teachers. Virtually one teacher for every 10 students. That's a number we have. In fact, most of the people who oppose yoga also go to yoga. Most of their families. I've checked it out.
That's right.
So we know that this thought has been imported during the last 5 to 10 years in the university system from abroad. We know that. And so we have to work on the level playing field, which is very important, where we also get to represent equally with all those people. What is your view on that, sir?
My thought is simply, and primarily because of the university setting and in the law school setting where I spend a whole lot of time, that today people are eager, as you rightly said, whether it's meditation, whether it's yoga, whether it's kind of mindfulness that they will say, or most of the people now even talk about breath and they start talking about pranayam. They are eager to know about it and they have got great deal of regard. But at the same time, I think you're absolutely right. We have got the responsibility to share our own thoughts with them and in a fashion that they can understand. And I simply want you to know that young people today, and especially those who are Hindus and are thinking in the terms that you and I are talking about, they have made their own mark. I was the other day at Rutgers University, and the Hindu Yuva, young people, they had brought faculty and administrators, and about 500 people got together, and they were doing Guru Vandana. And that was simply to show their respect to teachers. They had about 40 plus faculty members. They had chancellors from both of campuses. They had vice chancellors. They had provosts. And all those people, they were absolutely stunned to see what these young people had. They honored the faculty. They showed their respect to the faculty. They said how much they had learned from the faculty. And the tradition from India that Guru is the one who is as close to me in my own thoughts and respected to for me as God. And as you remember, we say that if God and Guru, I see both of them, I'll touch my Guru's feet first. And I remember that the other day I had taken a few friends and we had gone to see my chancellor of the university. And it was, we had gone to do, talk with her and to tell her about Hinduism. And at the same time, we tied Rakhi to her. And the next day she told me, she said, I felt like tears coming to my eyes because nobody had done that in that fashion, shown that kind of respect, shown that kind of love and compassion. And so I think you are right. We are the ones who have the capacity to do it, and we need to do it in the setting where we are.
One of the things which people have appreciated a lot when we work with different people is that a culture of giving gifts. And we have seen that we have followed through that culture, which is very much appreciated by all Americans and all the local who are locals to this area, like this country. They appreciate a lot. And as a community, also we have brought a lot of gifts to this country. One of them is yoga, another is vegetarianism. We have brought it in a big way, and many of our saints have done it. In fact, veganism is the Californians is 30% veganism, is one of the highest in the world. More than India also, to some extent. So we have brought a lot of gifts as a society, and also we have also brought another gift as a society is intellectual capacity, which we have also brought into this country. And I never claim that we are economically this status, that status, because if you belong into a country, then everything belongs to the country, and that is a very important aspect of our culture, that for us country comes first. What you'd like to add on that, please?
Sangeet, you are absolutely right. The other day, I was in Houston, and they were celebrating the Hindu Sangathan Divas to bring Hindus together. And there were almost 60 Hindu organizations that got together. And when they were talking about society and when they were talking about gifts, and they were saying how they can interact with the broader community in this country and how they can contribute to it. And I think that is the kind of gift and that is kind of mindset that at the present time people have. So 60 organizations together and thinking in those terms, not simply about Hindus, but about the entire society as such, and how to assist this society and help this society. And I think you're right, whether it's yoga, whether it's meditation, at the present time, that is what the Hindus have brought in this country. And I think I'm looking forward to the day when it's not simply that, but even on literature in this country, even on the value systems in this country, that you do have something in common. Because India and the United States, we always kept saying that these are the countries that have got the same values. Now they have got the same interests also. So I think when India and the United States can work together, and in this country, Hindus who have come, they always say that this is my Karam Bhumi. Surely Bharat is there, India is there, and India is in a way, my roots are there. And then I remember that one time the United Kingdom, they had invited me to come to all the universities in Scotland and go around and visit them. And one time I had the opportunity to go to Israel, and they had asked me to come and visit all the universities. And there, what I saw, it was summer. And Satsangiji, everywhere that I went, there were many American Jews who had gone to visit Israel. And they had the feeling that they can learn from Israel, but also they can find their own roots. So although we here consider this our Karam Bhumi, and we go to India, and I would like to see more people from Hindus like to visit India, but here is the one that we have got to work. Here is our Karam Bhumi, and this is where we are, and this is where we need to contribute to society. And, in every field, it's not simply economic. It's not simply at this time, you probably hear many times from people saying, I had a wonderful Indian doctor, Hindu doctor. I would not go to another doctor, only to a Hindu doctor. And I hear that many, many times. And because they are caring, they are compassionate, they are competent, and then that is very true. And at the same time, these are the people who also feel that they are going to serve society. And whether it's a doctor, whether it's an economist, whether it's an entrepreneur, whether it's an educational, in the education a person. So this society is the one that we have got to serve, and we have got to serve in a way where we can also share with them Hindu ideals and Hindu values. And at this stage in this country, they need it, because obviously when you have got reached the pinnacle of money is there, but there is a great deal of pressure. They realize that there is something more than money and something more than all these materialistic things. And that is where Hinduism and spirituality has a whole lot to teach in this country. And that is what we need to do.
One last point, and I'll let you go. Time is coming to an up. The recent attempts by, I would say, the foreign immigrants to bring caste equations in the US, and which is we had given up. And again, they're reintroducing, like the British introduced caste system in India in 1901 in the census by Harper Priestley. They're doing the same thing today in the US. So what is your view? How far is this practical also on all these immigrant groups and also the university systems that they talk about it?
I think there are two things that need to be done. One is that we need to provide a very clear and unadulterated picture of what the Hindu system is and how caste is not, as you go back to Indian society and Indian culture, and Indian history that it was never hierarchical. It was never that you were born and you are going to stay there. The thought simply was a division of labor, that there are people who are going to be intellectuals and they ought to be there. They ought to do that. They are the ones who can teach. There are people who are going to be doing managerial stuff, business stuff, and there are going to be unskilled people, but all of them are of equal value. And anyone who has been unskilled but wants to be educated, he can be a Brahmin tomorrow. And a person who is born in a Brahmin family and is going to remain unskilled and is not going to be studying and educating and himself or herself and is going to remain unskilled and ignorant, then that is a person who is going to be obviously not going to be called a Brahman, but he is going to be whatever name you want to give him. So I think it was not hierarchical, it was not set in stone. You could move, it was flexibility, and it was simply division of labor. So today, two things have to be done. One is that you need to counter that, what the way they present about caste system, and that has to be done by people who understand it and who can articulate it properly. And second is that from temples, from Hindu organizations, I think there has to be a joint effort in order to tell people who are Americans that caste system is not that we care about. It's not part of Hindu culture. It is stereotype that others have been trying to accusing us of. So both of those tracks, one countering it, second projecting an image that is proper and educating people about it. We have a teacher training program that Ubra Foundation does. And I think we just finished this week the program. And I think that is what we did. And I simply wanted to share with you. I think you said that the time is up, so I shouldn't take any more time.
So you can share with me that program if you want.
I will.
And we can have a separate event for that. The word caste is of Portuguese origin. I've written in my 7 books, and the word caste doesn't come in the Indian dictionary. It was also implemented on Hindus in 1901 by the British. So I think Americans are doing the same mistake based on a non-American refugee ideas and immigrant ideas of others. Caste system is a European concept, doesn't exist in India. India is Varna, Guna, Karma, Vibhagasha. Is what Americans stand for. Americans stand for what quality you have, you can attain that objective. So Indian or Hindu Varna system is equivalent to what Americans stand for, the land of equal opportunity. By introducing caste, you are actually destroying the principle of equal opportunity. That's what I'll say. Would you like to add something to that?
No, I think you have done it so beautifully, articulated it so well, and you should project it as loudly and as clearly as possible, because that is what needs to be brought to the attention of our friends in America, because they are keen to hear that and they are able to understand that. And they have got to understand that this is not inherent in India. It is foreign, brought to us. And unfortunately, we are stereotyped with it. And that is why both of those things, one, to counter it, and second, to at least educate people that it's really not what we are. So I deeply appreciate your giving me the opportunity to talk with you. And as I speak with you, I always learn. And so thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Feeling is mutual. And thank you all viewers who are watching this show, and do comment and give your feedback. That was Ved Nanda, very prominent personality amongst Hindu Americans in North America. Namaste.
Thank you. Namaskar.